Welcome to this explainer. Look, before we do anything else, I want you to imagine, just for a second, that we aren't staring at a screen right now. Imagine we're sitting together in a quiet retreat lodge. There's snow falling outside, and we've got this really warm fire crackling softly right in the corner. Let's just step away from the endless notifications. Leave the urgency of your inbox behind. Forget the loud demands of your day for a minute. Take a real breath. Today, we're going to have a meandering but deeply purposeful conversation about something that, honestly, changes the absolute atmosphere of your life. We're diving into the interplay between emotional intelligence and presence.
So let's jump right into a scene we all know way too well. You walk into a room, maybe it's a high-stakes boardroom, or honestly, maybe it's just your kitchen. A difficult conversation has literally just begun, and the tension, it is incredibly palpable. You can actually feel it tightening your jaw. Someone says something that feels entirely unfair, or maybe they completely derail this plan you've worked so hard on. Suddenly, the room feels freezing cold with all this unspoken judgment, or depending on the situation, maybe it's suffocatingly hot with rising anger. Notice your body in that hypothetical moment. Your chest tightens up, your breathing gets super shallow, and your instinct, which is totally hardwired by a nervous system that's just desperate for safety, is usually to do one of two things. You either detach completely, kind of turning to stone just to survive the cold, or you burst into emotional flames, fighting back to burn the whole thing down.
I want to gently ask you a question right now. What is trying to speak faster than wisdom? Just let that sink in for a second. Let your nervous system relax into that thought. You don't have to fix the conflict right this second. You just have to notice what is rushing to the surface. Is it fear? Maybe a need to control the situation? Or is it that desperate, burning desire just to be understood? Often when we feel that rush, our first instinct is to mask it. On one side, we have what we could call performative calm. This is that polished corporate distance. It's basically a cold stone. You look totally unshaken on the outside, but inside, you're completely disconnected and rigid. You aren't actually present. You're just managing the moment through fear. But then on the flip side, we have anchored presence. Now, this isn't cold at all. It's a regulated, really honest warmth. You're not suppressing the tension, but you definitely aren't letting it dictate your actions either. You remain entirely human, deeply connected to your center, and you hold the moment with true integrity. So, the million-dollar question is, how do we get from that performative coldness to that anchored warmth? Well, it all comes down to this absolutely beautiful concept, emotional stewardship. I want to introduce a new metaphor for us to play with today. Think of your emotional intelligence as a heavy stone hearth. The structure, the boundaries, that quiet, steady strength. And then think of presence as the fire, the energy, the raw emotion, the actual heat of the moment. Without the hearth, your emotional fire is going to spread and burn the house down. It's totally destructive. But without the fire, the house is freezing and lifeless. Emotional stewardship is not about putting out the fire of your feelings. No way. It's about building a strong enough hearth to safely contain that heat, so it actually creates warmth and light for everyone in the room. We are intentionally choosing stewardship over suppression. Presence and emotional awareness actually work together to build that hearth. When you're truly present, you literally slow down the speed of your automatic reactions. It's like you give yourself this incredible gift of space. Space to notice when your internal fire is getting a little too hot, Space to feel that flush in your cheeks or the tightness in your chest before, and this is key, before it turns into a sharp word or a defensive email. Presence is that active state of inward availability that lets you tend to the fire well before it ever escapes the hearth. And this internal foundation, it absolutely changes everything when we interact with other people. It brings us to a really profound insight, the anchor of empathy. We so often think of empathy as absorbing someone else's pain, like completely merging with their emotional state. But actually, true empathy requires you to stay anchored in your own center. Think about it. If you abandon your hearth to jump into their fire, well, you both just get burned. Healthy empathy means you can stand close to their warmth, honor their reality, and say, hey, I see your pain and I am right here with you, all without losing your own footing. When you find yourself standing face-to-face with someone else's emotional reality, you really have to ask yourself these quiet coaching questions. How will I carry this? What does this emotion need from me right now? Does it need me to fix it? Usually no. Does it need me to just listen? Yes, absolutely. It asks you to hold your own emotional realities safely so you don't accidentally ask them to carry your discomfort on top of their own pain. Okay,
Let's move from concept into some actual practice. We're going to do something called the architectural pause, and I'd love for you to actually do this with me right now. It'll just take a couple minutes, but it can genuinely change the entire architecture of your day. Wherever you are, just soften your gaze, or go ahead and close your eyes if you feel comfortable. First, step 1, notice the heat. I want you to think about a mild tension you're carrying today, just a mild one. Maybe an email you really need to send, or a conversation you've been dreading. Where do you feel that in your body right now? Just really notice it. Is it in your shoulders, your stomach? Don't judge it at all. Just gently acknowledge, yep, there's the fire. Okay, step 2, feel the anchor. I want you to physically feel your feet flat on the floor. Notice the weight of your body sitting in the chair. Let gravity just hold you. Now take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, keep pulling it in, and let it out through your mouth, nice and slow. Let's do that one more time. Inhale deeply, building up that hearth, and exhale slowly, settling right into the stone. You are literally reminding your nervous system that right here, right now, in this exact second, you are safe. You are anchored. Now, step 3, choose the response. From this grounded place, not that panicked place from before, ask yourself, what is the wisest next step? Take one more slow breath in and release it. That right there, that is the lived practice of presence.
So what we just performed together is basically an invisible architectural review. When you take that pause in real life, right before a big meeting, before correcting a colleague, or before answering your partner, you aren't halting your productivity, not at all. You are simply checking your internal foundation before you build your external response. You're making absolutely sure your actions are being built on steadiness rather than on the crumbling ground of just raw reaction and unexamined strain. This architectural review is especially vital during conflict. In the heat of an argument, when the fire is just roaring, you have to ask yourself a really gentle truth. Are you reacting to this specific moment, or are you reacting to an older wound? Actually, so often the intensity of our anger or our defensiveness doesn't even belong to the person standing right in front of us. It belongs to a past moment where we felt unheard or unsafe or maybe inadequate. Presence is what gives us the clarity to separate the current trigger from all that past emotional residue. But let's be incredibly honest with ourselves here. We are human. Sometimes the fire escapes the hearth. Sometimes we snap. Sometimes we just completely withdraw. The burn happens. So what then? Well, the real beauty of emotional intelligence is that it interrupts our reactive momentum, and it allows us to return. Repair is this uncomfortable, but honestly, utterly beautiful work of reconnection. It's having the courage to go back and say, hey, my reaction earlier was way louder than this moment required. I was activated and I didn't steward it well. Let's try again. That humble return, it doesn't weaken your leadership or your relationships. It actually builds unshakable trust. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that a rupture is never the end of the story. As our time by the fireplace comes to a close today, I want to offer you this final, warm invitation to return to yourself. In the end, presence isn't just how you lead, it's how you leave people. Stay warm, stay anchored, and tend your fire. Think about it. When you walk out of a room, what is the lingering atmosphere you leave behind? Is it the cold chill of performative distance? Is it the scorching heat of an unchecked reaction? Or is it the steady, reliable warmth of a perfectly tended hearth? You absolutely have the capacity to choose your atmosphere. It takes practice, it definitely takes grace, and it takes a real willingness to pause. So as you leave this quiet lodge and step back out into the noise of your day, what kind of fire are you going to build next?